Hello everyone, welcome to yet another edition of the Java Workshop on Instagram. The Java Workshop is a quick conversation between us and the mavens of motorcycling, those who travel the muddy trails, those who take the long windy ones, those who build, those who customize, those who sculpt, those who create. Travelers with a lot of food tales, travelers with music in their blood, people who capture beautiful images, who make their stories come alive through them, and so on. So, we have this and much more in our Mastercraft conversations about motorcycling and beyond. Today, we are going to talk about long distance motorcycling touring with a very, very special guest. And that person is Sarath Chinoy, and I'm just about to make him enter our room. So, as Sarath is entering and joining this conversation, I would like to tell you a little more about Sarath. So,
Hey,
Sarath
Vikram.
is, hi, Sarath. So, Sarath is uh, an inspiration for most of us who dream of leaving our day jobs and riding to the horizon. And Sarath gets to do this day after day. And he's worked in a corporate setup for about 12 years before he was bitten by this bug. And since then, he's always been on the road. So, today, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about how to plan the perfect motorcycle ride, how to prepare yourself, and also how to prepare your motorcycle for the journey, what all things to consider, what all things to pack. So, the works with Sarath based on his experiences. And I would also like to mention that, had it not been this nationwide lockdown, it would have been impossible to catch hold of Sarath for this session because he's never there at one place. He's just always on the move. So, hey, Sarath, how are you doing and how is this lockdown treating you?
Hey, Vikram. Hey, guys. It's been a good break for me because I've been always running from one place to another over the last 5 years. And this is like a punishment for me where I have to just sit down in one place and do nothing else but get some good rest for myself, the motorcycle, and also go through all the content that I have been shooting from a long time. So it's a nice break. It's feeling very fresh. You can see on my face I'm super happy and excited also. But obviously, I'm waiting for the lockdown to get over and then ride out. There is much more to explore now.
So, Sarath, I would like you to start with right from the beginning on what inspired you to be a full-time motorcycle traveler. Like I have a picture of you here sitting in our
Oh, shit.
and this is not that we're used to seeing. So, what
Yeah.
inspired you?
So, my father used to work on old motorcycles. I mean, he had passions for building old motorcycles, and he always used to bring in bags and sacks and stuff like that. People would have burned motorcycles or sold for random. He would come home, sit with his friend mechanic, build the motorcycle, and ride it for a few days, and then he would sell it. He wouldn't explore a lot of places. He loved building those bikes. But for me, I figured I wanted to explore, ride the motorcycle further beyond my comfort zone, and then do it. So after doing a couple of short rides around my city, I started riding longer distances, and the kind of experiences that brought in home was amazing. And I couldn't really settle down to the usual way of life anymore, and always looked out for an opportunity to ride out and find something new on the road. So weekend rides to week-long rides, and then month-long rides, and then never come back home kind of rides happen.
So yeah, let's get back to the topic again. And for those of you who have joined late, we are speaking with Sarath Chinoy, who is an avid long-distance motorcycle tourer. And today we are talking about how to plan the perfect motorcycle ride, how to pack well, how to prepare everything about the ride. So Sarath, let's get on with this topic. So it's an exciting thought just to think about loading up your motorcycle and heading out to the horizon for a long ride, the ride of your dreams to your dream destinations. But if you don't plan well, this ride can actually turn into an agony. So, what do you suggest? How do we start planning?
So, so on a or day-long motorcycle or a weekend-long motorcycle trip, it's not that a tough thing because you're still around your comfort zone and you could always come back for anything if required or call your friends. But if you're doing a multi-day ride, that is like a 4 or 5 days or a week-long ride, you have to spend some time preparing the motorcycle. But before preparing the motorcycle, you'll have to start preparing yourself to understand if you can handle it. There are a lot of aspects that goes into it. First thing is physical fitness. You don't have to be bodybuilder or anything for that, but then you have to slowly start building the stamina for it. So what worked for me was day-long rides. I would leave in the morning and then come back by night. Then slowly pushed on to 2 days, 3 days, and then over many years I moved on to a longer distance ride where I could just pack up any day and leave. So understand your comfort zone on how long you could travel, how many kilometers you could do, and also the kind of terrains that you would like to ride on, because there are a lot of people who would like to ride on the highways, and the moment the broken roads or bad roads come into picture, they start giving up. So understand your way of riding, understand your motorcycle, get into the comfort zone, and then go along with it.
So, I think, sir, are you using a speaker? Because I can hear my.
No, I'm using a hands-free. Let me see if I can cut that off and fit that.
I'll turn off fan also.
Okay, I
Any
think.
better?
Yeah, I think this is better because there was a lot of echo and people were complaining. So,
sorry,
okay,
sorry.
fine. So, so once you've prepared yourself, you've finalized, you've fixed up a destination in your mind, then how do you start? Where do you go next? Do you start planning your route, or how do you approach the next
route
stop?
planning, absolutely. So the route planning is a major component in a trip, because knowingly or unknowingly there are going to be a lot of surprises on the route, and if you're not prepared, you might be in agony of why did I ride out type. So depending on the terrain or the kind of place that you're going to ride, break down the whole trip into multiple days. So if you think you are riding from Bangalore to Ladakh or Delhi to Ladakh or whatever, understand how many kilometers of distance has to be traveled, and understand the kind of terrains you're going to ride it, and then break it down into number of days you can ride. Because a lot of people would do from point A to point B and see, I have only 4 days of break, let me do that. But it so happens that on the second day you're still halfway through, you're not even reached the location, because on a highway you could do about 600 700 kilometers, but the moment you reach bad terrains or off roads or high altitude, your distance might fall down from 300 to 200 and some days 100 kilometer. So that kind of becomes a problem. So plan your route well, understand how many kilometers you can do, and that goes a long way. So once that is done, you're good to go. And also ensure you plan up some rest days in between. That way, if in case you have a breakdown, you fall sick, or there is a problem going on somewhere, that way you could stay back and then cover the distance the next day. If you're on a very tight schedule, it becomes a big problem.
Yeah, that's correct. So anyway, I've got a message for every viewer who's watching this. In case if you have any sort of questions, please press the question mark icon on your screen and type in a question there, and we'd like to entertain your question during the course of this session. So getting back to you, Sarath, now, okay. So your self-preparation is done, your route planning is done. Where do you go next?
Once the route plan is done, you should put some time and effort on your riding gear, because you're going to be wearing the riding gear for a long time, or you're going to be on the motorcycle for a long time. So motorcycle preparedness is the rest, but then having a good set of riding gear is going to go a long way. Yeah, like you see on the picture, I always am ride all the gear all the time kind of a guy. A good helmet, a good riding jacket, a riding pant, and ankle length shoes. Also a riding gloves is a must, because it might not feel comfortable, but the moment you wearing it, get used to it, your body will work with it. So the problem is it's like a life insurance, right? You don't need it ever, but if in case you ever need it, you always wish you had the best one. And also the best thing about the riding gear is once you have a good set of riding gear, the kind of luggage that you're going to carry always gets reduced. Otherwise, you will have multiple layers of clothes that you're going to carry on, about 3-4 jeans and stuff like that. I still remember my first ride that I had done to Rajasthan. I had about 4 pairs of jeans, and then I had about 6 t-shirts, and so much so that I never used them, and it just tired me down on the move. The luggage was so much, I couldn't comfortably handle the motorcycle. Whenever it fell, I had to remove all the luggage, put it back on, and stuff like that. So a good set of riding gear would cut down half of the luggage you're carrying, and is going to prepare you for the bad falls or any impacts that's going to happen onto you.
Okay, great. So I've been also getting a lot of questions on, how do you prepare your motorcycle for the ride? So how do you do that then?
So we are in an era where we're getting a lot of good motorcycles in the market that can you can just load up your luggage and leave. This makes ensure that you don't carry a lot of spare parts, or keep preparing the motorcycle or fixing the motorcycle on the move. Like the picture you see there, the Java thing, just a saddle bag and the tail bag. The tail bag is a friend that I was carrying. I had done a basic mod job on the motorcycle, because I knew I'm going to go in terrains where I might get bad terrains, or I might drop the motorcycle, or I might have issues that I don't want to be stuck in. So what I usually do on a motorcycle when I pick up is a good crash guard. I'd not put a fancy crash guard, but something that is designed for the motorcycle that would ensure if in case I have a fall, the impact is passed on to it and the bike is not impacted. And the second thing is usually a good set of tires. The stock set of tires that comes on a motorcycle are brilliant, but if you are going to fall off the highway and do broken terrains or different kind of terrains, a good dual sport tire comes handy. This also ensures that you have better grip on the road and also lesser chances of punctures and stuff like that. Then the rest is a good knuckle guard, so that if in case you have a fall or you crash into something, your levers are not broken, your knuckles are not broken and stuff like that. Then a good aux light. I do not ride late into the night. I have a planning that way. But in case you are in a situation where you were stuck somewhere and you have to do the last 100 kilometers, the stock light might not come handy. So you would use the aux lights that would take you the extra length. And then a USB charger and a phone mount, so that you have a phone running there with the map, and also while you're using it you can charge it, so that when you land up somewhere you're not struggling with calling somebody, the phone is dead and you don't know where to go. So these are the basic things that I do on the motorcycle. And what I usually do is spending time with the mechanic. Wherever I give the motorcycle for a service, I ensure I spend quality time with them to understand what is being done on the bike, like a basic service, a basic maintenance of the motorcycle, like how to adjust the chain, how to adjust the brake levers and different. Because though most of the motorcycle work on the same principle, how you fix it is slightly different. So you understand that. This also helps you make a list of what are the tools you have to carry and what are the spare parts that you would need. This ensures you don't load up the motorcycle a lot. And I remember first ride that I did, I had so much luggage or so much spare parts on me that my bike was always getting dragged to the one side, because I had multiple chain sets or brake pads and this and that, which I really didn't know. I just spoke to somebody, they said, you need this, carry it, and there's a pain. So workshop time helps me line that up. And I think that helps me up.
Okay, sir. So we'll take a break and we'll try and answer a few questions on the go. So I think, there's one relevant question. There are a couple of them actually, which have been asked basis of what you've already spoken about. So the first question is, how often do you take breaks? And the second question it's more about the planning part as well, is how do you manage booking hotels on the ride?
Okay, so it actually depends on how long you have been riding the motorcycle. If you understand the motorcycle and you have been spending good amount of time on it, you would know that you could easily do 100, 200 or 300 kilometers breaks. I have been doing so many trips now that I usually take my first break after about 200 kilometers. I usually start at 6 in the morning, and by 8 or 9 I would have done about 200 kilometers. I stop for a good breakfast and then ride out. And every an hour or 100 kilometers or 150 kilometers is when I would stop and take a break. It also depends on the kind of the location that I'm riding into. If it's a highway, I try to easily cover as much distance possible and such. And a good way to figure out how much you would be is if you're feeling sleepy or if you're feeling tired, take a break. Don't just push it for the next. And see if you can connect it with a fuel break. That way, the bike gets to cool down. You fuel up, have a chai, check on the bike on how things are. Always, when you take a break, park the bike, take a complete walk around the bike, and figure out if things are all well. If you need fixing, fix it, and then you get to move on with it.
And I think, when you come across locations like these where you have to stop and admire the nature. So yeah, those are like the unplanned stops that you make on the road.
Yeah, so that is the longest that usually goes on.
Yeah. And what do you do about booking the hotels? Do you book them in advance, or do you just go and knock on the doors and check if there's an availability? How do you manage that?
So what I usually do is, depending on the kind of terrain I have ridden, by usually about 2:30, I have a clear idea on how long or how much more I can ride. And I usually keep about 50 or 100 kilometers of distance in mind and look for hotels. Usually there are 3 or 4 different apps that you could look on and line that up. And then I usually book it right away, because if I want to ensure I reach before 8 o'clock, I have to do it. Otherwise, I would think, let me push a bit more and then ride into the late night. So usually I have checked in by 6:30. The rooms are booked, and I call them up. I confirm the room's blocked. And I also ensure I book places where I can park the motorcycle in a covered parking. I do not want to leave the bike outside.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, so that is the one main thing that I do. And if there is no cover parking, I see if there is a camera there, park the bike there, or speak to the security, buy him a chai, have a connect, and ensure the bike is safe overnight, and then get up in the morning and leave. Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to the questions which I've already prepared for you. So now, we've spoken about preparing the bike. Now, another very big and very important aspect of touring is the luggage on the motorcycle. Since you'll be gone
Yeah.
for a long duration, you need to carry stuff, and to carry stuff, you need space on the motorcycle, which is very, very limited. So how do you, expand that space? What are the kind of luggages that you carry, and yeah, so on.
So there are two things to it. What is what luggage? What are the luggage means of luggage, like saddlebags that I carry, and what's in it? So the best idea would be is to understand where you're going and what is the weather like. So depending upon that, you pack it. And what has usually helped me is a good set of riding gear ensures I do not have to carry a lot of things, right? So you're going to be on a motorcycle all the time, and having a good jacket that takes care of it. So I have been living out of a saddlebag most of the time, or a duffel bag. I usually have about 3 or 4 t-shirts, one jeans, maybe a couple of sets of innerwears, and that's what takes care of it. I do not have to carry a lot of it. That's one duffel bag that I traveled from
Yeah.
Bhopal till Karnataka. That is about 14 or 15 days of ride. It was a dry day. It's a winter, not winter, it was summer, and I didn't need a lot of luggage to carry on. And a good set of riding gear ensured I was breathing well, and then I could go in. So depending on each, invest on a good riding gear, and then line up the basics of it. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, okay. So the luggage is fine. Now, how do you make sure that you pack light and you are carrying only the essentials? What kind of guidance would you want to give to travelers so that they don't carry any unnecessary stuff? Just carry very basic, the almost the absolutely essential stuff, and also a
Yeah.
few things apart from, say, clothes and footwear. What are the few other gear that you should carry so that it is really helpful in certain situations?
Yeah, so most of the things you can buy en route, like t-shirts, shorts, and stuff like that. You could always buy en route, but always there are few things that I carry extra on my motorcycle, or relevant stuff like essentials that ensures I have a comfortable journey. I usually carry an extra pair of riding gloves on me, and then I have the usual toolkit. After having spent some time with the motorcycle, the mechanic, I figured out what are the things that I need, so that's there on the list. And one second, I just made a list of few things that I don't want to miss out on. Let me see if
Okay.
it's there. Uh, so yeah, so a few bungee cords. The thing is, once you have packed or figured out what are the material that you need, you always pick up a good set of saddlebags. So depending on the kind of riding style you like, you could have a pair of a good saddle bag, a tail bag, or a tank bag. There are many variants available in the market, and before buying it, you could always rent them out from different brands. There are some brands that's available right now. So you figure out what you need, put up your stuff, and figure out if it works well, and ensure it stays on the motorcycle line, and then go on with it. So always carry a pair of toolkit that works for your motorcycle. Carry some bungee cords, and see if you can carry some waterproof duffel bags, or bags inside, so that in case it rains, you want to carry electronics in it, you could use that. And I always have an extra mobile phone that I carry, like a basic phone. That way, in case my phone is damaged or broken, I could always swap into that and use it. So I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think, based on my experiences, apart from this, I think a torch and a Swiss Army knife also
Oh yes,
come in
yeah.
very, very handy, especially in the dark, and when you need small tools to, do various jobs. So there's
Plus the
yeah,
first aid kit also comes handy. And the
yes,
idea is, once you've
absolutely.
packed your luggage, make sure it's available on top of the luggage so that it's easier to access. So we have had situations where we have had carried most of the things we need, but over the days of riding, whatever we needed had gone based into the bottom, and when we needed it, it couldn't be pulled out. It was raining, and we wanted raining gear, stuff like that. We couldn't pull it out, and it was struggle. So always ensure it's packed on the top and it's easily accessible, like mainly first aid and stuff like that.
Okay, so for everybody who's been joining us a little late after we started, I would like to again tell you that we are speaking with Sarat Chinoy on the details of long distance motorcycle touring. And so far, a quick recap. What we've done is, we've spoken to Sarat about how do you start planning and how do you go about doing a trip in a very, very perfect manner, near perfect manner. So, the first very important thing which Sarat said was to prepare yourself and make yourself ready for the ride. See if you're up for the challenge. Start doing small rides first, and then see how you can take it ahead. Second thing is on planning your route, see how much comfortable you are riding, what distance you can do comfortably during the day. Don't push yourself there, and progress slowly on that part. Next thing is to have a very good quality riding gear. Now, based on the weather, you can choose your riding gear. You can have summer riding gear with good ventilation. If you're going to a cold place, it's always good to have winterproof lining, rainproof,
Yeah.
rainproof gears. Always help in India because you never know when it rains.
Yeah.
So things like that. After that, what we discussed was how we prepare the motorcycle with some add-on accessories, maybe change tires, put saddle stays, crash guards, depending on your requirements. And then we've also covered the topic of luggage and what to pack in them. So now, Sarat, let's get back to the questions. There's another, it's a very technical question. Even I don't know if I'll be able to answer it, but somebody's asked that when going to Ladakh, is a 60-liter tail bag and a 20-liter tank bag enough for carrying luggage?
Okay, so it again depends on each person because there are a lot of people who need they want to change t-shirts on a daily basis. They want to have a complete camera kit with them. They want to carry a lot of the things. But what I would advise is try to minimize on what you're carrying. And if you have about 2 or 3 guys riding together, share things that you are like. Basically, most of the things that we carry, the heavy parts like charging kit and cameras and stuff like that. If you could manage one set according to multiple people, it works well. But 60 under 20 is a lot, I would believe. I think 40 under 10 would work better. Try to keep the bike light because wherever you have, if you're going in June, July, you might have a lot of water crossings and stuff like that, which would mean your bike might get stuff. You'll have to remove all the luggage, load it back again, and then cross. So I think a 40 and a 10 would do the basic. The tank bag, I think you should just use it for your maybe the GoPro, the memory cards, and a pair of gloves and chargers and stuff like that. That would bring it down to the bare minimum, and I think that should be good. Anything bigger would just tie down and load up on the motorcycle.
I've received another very, very relevant question, which and this thought might be going on in a lot of minds. So this is about doing Bharat said was to prepare your long road trip with a pillion. So somebody wants to know, is Ladakh trip with a pillion from Tamil Nadu possible? And what are your tips for doing it in the most effective and efficient manner?
Okay, so it's definitely possible. Yeah. So right now, most of the places, the roads have been, it's blacktop, and there are enough guidance available en route wherein it shouldn't be a problem. Stay is not an issue. Connectivity is good. That way, even if you're traveling with your friend or a partner, it shouldn't be a problem. It's just that I would suggest a saddle bag to be used on this trip so that you could, balance your luggage and ensure either one of you is not wearing a backpack. That way both are comfortable. And again, I would suggest do shorter distances like a multiple day 200, 300, 400 kilometers and understand what is your stamina level onto it, and then plan up, because Tamil Nadu to Bangalore, Tamil Nadu to Ladakh and back would easily be a 16 or a 14-day trip. And that would be easily about 2,500, 2,600 kilometers. And this would mean you're averaging out easily about 400 kilometers on a daily basis. And once up in the mountains, 100 kilometers. So a good understanding, good background work to it is what's going to help. And I think it's doable. It shouldn't be a problem at all.
All right. There's another question on, it's a little bit of detail on your preparations also. So someone wants to know that what are the exact spare parts that you should carry, and how do you locate good mechanics throughout the way in case of a breakdown?
Yeah, so see, there is no standard toolkit that's going to work for all different motorcycles. So once you have spent some time with the motorcycle, the workshop, or the mechanic, you know what are the tools required for the basic maintenance. And I think that's what I carry. I usually carry a set of Allen key and then couple of nut bolts of stainless steel, whatever can be fixed on the motorcycle, and then I think that's about it, because there's nothing much more you could do. I would carry a plier and a monkey wrench. That's an adjustable spanner that you could use on. Anything more, you would need some help from a local mechanic. Like these are the local things that you could do on the move. If your bike breaks down, shuts down, or there is an accident happening, you could do the basics. But anything more, you need a mechanic. And if you're landing up with the mechanic, he would have the tools required. So no point carrying it. So try down carrying the basics. Initially, when I started traveling, I used to carry a full toolbox, and that weighed about 6 kilos, and that itself was a lot. So over a period of time, I figured out what are the tools I'm using from it, different bolts, different heads, and stuff like that. I started only carrying that and brought it down to about under a kilo, and that's what works. So usually a Allen key set, a good Tapari Allen key set's about $150. That should be there. A monkey wrench, adjustable, Swiss and a Philip screwdriver, and I think that should be good.
And I think it's always good to carry a few spare fuses specific to your
Yes, yeah.
motorcycle,
So
and
that goes into the essentials.
cables.
Yeah, I missed out
Charge
mentioning
cable.
that earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, so in the essentials with the first aid kit and the rest of it, always have a pair of accelerator and clutch cable, and a pair of brake pads, and two sets of fuses. I would say, if you have put a lot of electronics on the motorcycle, like let it be aux lights or chargers and stuff like that, it's always good to have a couple of more fuses on you, so that in case it burns out, you could always swap. And I think it's also available right now en route, but don't do it. Carry it on the bike. Plus, have some chain spray and chain cleaner and a brush, so that whenever you stop for a day in the evening, park the bike, clean it up, lube it, let it set in. The next day morning, you start and ride out, and try to finish most of the things the previous night took. Yeah.
Okay, so I think now we are approaching the end of the session. So maybe let's summarize what we've discussed, and maybe you can help me with telling us the top 5 things that you need to keep in mind when you are doing a road trip right from the start to finish. The top 5 things.
Okay, so
for you.
yeah, so the first thing usually is planning the trip, planning the route, understanding where you're going and what kind of terrain you're riding. It lets you break it down to multiple days. And second, actually it could be the first, but a riding gear, a good set of riding gear, and a rain gear too. One size. What I usually do is I pick up stuff from Decathlon, one size bigger raincoat. That way it cuts out the wind chill and the raincoat or whatever, and it's easier to wear, because over the 5 days or 6 days of the tiredness that's get on the body, always on the top. So the first is route map. Second is a good set of riding gear. Third would be the basic motorcycle maintenance and the time that you spent on it. And the fourth, I would say, I just written it down here, a toolkit. Toolkit has to be on the list. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, so I think that sums it up quite well. There's an interesting question from a lady rider, and she wants to know what are the homeworks you suggest for an amateur biker, a solo woman traveler?
Okay, so see, being frank, anybody can go anywhere right now. The good roads, good connectivity, and being frank, generally people are friendly across the country. And the moment they see somebody's in trouble, you just need to ask them, or they're there to help you out. So you don't have to worry about it. First thing is understand how much or how long you could travel and what are the terrains you can handle. So once that is done, you will not be stranded anywhere. And if you're usually doing the highways, you don't have a problem. Keep in mind what are the distance you could do. Don't try to push it a lot. And with the easy access of internet available, see if you can make a small WhatsApp group of friends around en route and tell them where you're going to be and what distance you're going to cover and stuff like that. And also see if you could have your stays booked. Biggest trouble nowadays is getting the stays booked, because a lot of online bookings are not allowed. So you book them, call them up in the morning or whatever, and confirm that I'm landing up, and ensure that's locked out. And carry the basic tools that you usually have on the motorcycle. And I think it's good to go. There is no trouble for anyone to travel across.
All right. So yeah. So before we end, I've just received another request from someone. So somebody wants to know, what's been your most memorable trip? And I personally would want to know, since you've been riding a Java, and I've been following you on your Kogo stories, and I've seen you doing all the full coastal mapping. So just tell us a little bit about your best trip, and also your experience of riding the Java across the Indian Peninsula. How did you feel, so that we can end the session with that?
Sure. My the first ride is always the longest memory that we have. So the first ride that I ever did was from Bangalore to Arunachal and back, a solo trip where I had a lot of issues on the motorcycle, and that's where I learned how to build a motorcycle, understand what needs to be done, what are the luggage to carry, and things. So Bangalore to Arunachal and back in 2013 or 14, I think, no, sorry, 2015 is the most brilliant ride that I
Memorable.
have done
Yeah.
so far, and very memorable because experience have been mind blowing, and whatever I've learned from that ride has been helping me on today's ride also. So that's for another day. The Java ride, that another dream come true because about 7 years ago I wanted to do the whole coastal part of the country, and I rode from Bangalore to Chennai, Kanyakumari, then towards Mangalore and rode back. But then that was a half cooked ride because I had to go back to work and I couldn't do the whole of it. And the moment Java came and the collaboration with Kogo happened, I said, this time I'm not going to let it go. I have enough time. So I head off straight to Kolkata and rode down a bit. And from there, I started riding the coast. And I ensured I let go the highway completely. And wherever Google Maps said take straight, left or right, I just fell off a different route altogether. And there have been days where I did about 50 or 100 kilometers where I could have done about 400, 500. I rode through villages, back roads, single trails, and stuff like that. Got bike stuck. Put the bike on a ferry to cross, and I think from my day one to Kanyakumari, which I would have done in 4 days, took me about 25 days. And it's been a brilliant ride all through. And riding a Java was brilliant because a lot of people across this terrain could relate to that bike. They have seen this bike and they're like, is it the old bike or the new one? I said, it's a new motorcycle. They look around the motorcycle and they're like, wow, my dad used to ride or my uncle used to ride. And that has been a good experience. Sad that I couldn't go on and complete till Gujarat, Rathkech part of it because of the lockdown.
Yeah.
And I think that'll happen the moment it's done. So, and in this ride, the biggest or most interesting part of it was riding towards Dhanushkodi. Slowly, the vacation part of was closing down, and there was no one on the road, and the whole island was for myself, and amazing. The ride was brilliant.
All right. Thank you, Sarath, for endowing us with your wisdom on long distance riding, and thanks to all of you for joining. For you, we will be back with a lot of such sessions to improve your motorcycling skills. The next one is up on Saturday, where we are going to discuss more things about maintenance of your motorcycle during this lockdown period, which again, I think is a very, very important aspect. So we hope to see you all back on Saturday at 7 p.m. with us. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and we'll see you very soon. I'm signing off. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.